History doesn't usually shout before it destroys you. It whispers. It offers a door, a pause, a compromise, a second chance. And over again, civilizations looked at that open door and slammed it shut. This isn't a story about enemies. It's a story about mercy rejected. And if you think this is ancient history, you're not paying attention to today. Let's begin. Warning 10. Carthage refused to bend and was erased. Before flames consumed it, before Roman legions reduced it to ash, Carthage was given a choice. After the Second Punic War, Carthage was broken, stripped of its navy, its territory, its pride. Yet it survived. Rome allowed it to exist under humiliating terms. For 50 years, Carthage rebuilt quietly. Trade returned, wealth flowed, prosperity reappeared, but Rome grew paranoid. Roman politicians, especially Cato the Elder, ended every speech the same way. Carthage must be destroyed. Rome issued impossible demands. Surrender weapons, dismantle defenses, abandon the city and move inland. It was not justice. It was humiliation. Carthage chose defiance. It refused Rome's final mercy because the mercy demanded suicide. The Third Punic War followed. 3 years later, the city was burning. Men slaughtered, women enslaved, the civilization wiped out. Rome offered a way to survive, but survival required surrendering identity. Carthage chose pride. Present parallel. How many institutions today reject compromise because it feels humiliating? How many political movements refuse reform because it looks weak? The result: escalation. Future question: if mercy requires swallowing pride, will we take it? Or will we burn protecting ego? Warning 9. Qing dynasty rejected reform until it was too late. In the 1800s, China wasn't weak. It was stagnant. Western powers arrived with steamships, rifles, industry. The Qing court watched from palaces built on tradition centuries old. Reformers inside the empire begged for modernization. After humiliations like the First Opium War, the message was clear: adapt or collapse. In 1898, Emperor Guangxu Emperor attempted sweeping reform: education overhaul, industrial change, military restructuring. It lasted 100 days. Then Empress Dowager Cixi crushed it. Mercy had arrived in the form of internal reform. It was rejected. Within decades. Revolution. Collapse. Dynasty gone. Present parallel. How many systems today dismiss innovation because it threatens hierarchy? Corporations. Governments. Religious institutions. Later. They say. History replies. Too late. Future question: are we repeating Qing's mistake, watching the world transform while defending outdated comfort? Warning 8. Tanzimat reforms. Half measures that failed. The Ottoman Empire was crumbling. Nationalism rising. Europe industrializing. Debt increasing. The Tanzimat reforms promised equality, modernization, centralization. It was mercy disguised as paperwork. But reforms were inconsistent, half-implemented, undermined internally. Elites resisted change. Conservatives feared dilution of identity. The empire changed just enough to destabilize but not enough to survive. By World War I, it collapsed. Mercy was offered not from enemies, but from reality itself. The Ottomans hesitated. History did not. Present parallel. Are incremental reforms enough when systemic collapse looms? Or are half measures just delayed catastrophes? Future question. When real change demands discomfort, will we commit fully, or pretend reform is enough? Warning 7. The diplomacy that could have stopped World War I. Before the trenches. Before the gas. Before millions died. There were telegrams. After Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated, Europe entered crisis. Diplomats scrambled. Britain proposed conferences. Russia hesitated. Germany calculated. Austria delayed. There were off-ramps. Every power believed war would be short. Every power assumed control. Mercy came in the form of time, a few weeks where leaders could have de-escalated. Instead, pride, alliances, and miscalculation accelerated mobilization. The window closed. 16 million dead. Present parallel. How often do political leaders today escalate instead of pause? Missiles replace telegrams now. The stakes are higher. Future question. If a global crisis begins tomorrow, will leaders choose restraint or assume control again? Warning 6. Japan's ignored peace feelers in 1945. By mid-1945, Japan was losing. Cities firebombed. Navy destroyed. Supply lines broken. Inside Tokyo, some officials sought conditional surrender through Soviet mediation. The United States demanded unconditional surrender. Negotiations stalled. Then came atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Mercy was complicated, layered in politics, mistrust, and pride. Was peace possible earlier? Historians debate. But one thing is clear. Hesitation amplified devastation. Present parallel. When enemies communicate quietly behind the scenes, do we listen? Or do we insist on total victory? Future question. In nuclear age conflicts, can absolute terms ever coexist with survival? Warning 5. Cold War near misses. Cuban Missile Crisis. A Soviet submarine nearly launched a nuclear torpedo. One man, Vasily Arkhipov, refused. Mercy wasn't policy. It was an individual choice. Throughout the Cold War, multiple near-launch incidents occurred due to false alarms. Each time, someone paused. Each pause was mercy. Present parallel. Today, AI systems monitor nuclear arsenals. What happens when algorithms replace hesitation? Future question. Will future mercy depend on code or conscience? Warning 4. Apartheid reform delays in South Africa. For decades, apartheid leadership resisted reform. Incremental changes were offered but delayed, diluted. International pressure mounted. Violence increased. Eventually, transformation came, but only after immense damage. Mercy was offered through early compromise. It was postponed. Present parallel. When injustice systems are warned early, do they reform voluntarily? Or wait for collapse? Future question. How many modern inequalities are one refusal away from eruption? Warning 3. Corporate bailout arrogance, 2008. Before the crash, warnings were clear. Risk models ignored. Housing bubble inflated. Confidence unchecked. Then came the global financial crisis. Governments offered bailouts, mercy for reckless institutions. Some executives treated rescue as entitlement. The system survived. Trust did not. Present parallel. If another crisis comes, will arrogance repeat? Future question. How many financial systems today assume they're too big to fail? Warning to political amnesty refusals. Across history, post-conflict amnesty offers have prevented bloodshed. But sometimes leaders reject compromise, fearing weakness. Civil wars prolong. Bitterness deepens. Mercy demands humility. Power resists humility. Present parallel. Polarized societies today reject dialogue. Future question. Will future historians say we had chances to reconcile and chose outrage? Warning: 1 Environmental recovery windows closing. Science has warned for decades. Ozone depletion, addressed and partially healed. Climate change, window narrowing. Mercy is time, and time is thinning. Each delayed reform echoes Qing hesitation, Ottoman half measures, World War I miscalculations. This time, there is no rival empire. Only physics. Present parallel. Extreme weather. Resource stress. Migration pressure. Future question. If Earth offered us recovery and we refused, who would history blame?